Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to another round of garage gossip. Yes, silly season is in full swing, and this time out I'm going to be taking a look at 3 rumours that are doing the rounds at the moment. Now, there are going to be 2 seats that dominate this, I was going to say transfer window then, and that kind of gives away what I've been doing over the last couple of days. Anyway, 2 seats that will dominate this silly season, and they are Gasly's seat at Red Bull and Bottas's at Mercedes. Starting with Gasly though, very quickly for this one, just the latest. Red Bull have once again said that they have no plans to replace him before the end of the season, but they have said that he needs to spend the summer break, quote, reflecting on his form, with team boss Christian Horner saying that he needs Gasly to start delivering. I think we can all agree on that one. Possibly understatement of the season, but it hasn't been the best 12 races for Pierre. But it looks as though he will see out the season. It could well be, though, that as I've said before, a lack of options keep him in that seat. But I would also like to think that they are giving him every opportunity to find his form. That's certainly the feeling I get when listening to what Christian Horner has to say. He really does seem to be trying to put his confidence behind Gasly. Ultimately, though, it will all boil down to just how patient Helmut Marko is willing to be. As for who could take his place for 2020, assuming of course he does see out the season, well, according to some of the latest reports, Daniel Kvyat is unsurprisingly right towards the top of Red Bull's list, and that has sort of been backed up this week by the fact that Alexander Albon has come out and said that his focus for next season is on Toro Rosso and not on Red Bull. I am sure, though, if Red Bull come knocking, he will leap at the opportunity. But yeah, the latest on Gasly is that he will be in that Red Bull until at least the end of 2019. As for Valtteri Bottas, frankly, it doesn't look good. A few days ago, Toto Wolff said that he was wrestling with himself over who takes the second seat at Mercedes, and it is between Bottas and Ocon. It's an interesting quote, actually, so I will give it a read. It is a question between Esteban and Valtteri. It's making a decision on stability, a great personality, and a very good driver, versus giving youth a chance and the opportunity in the car with all the reward and risks it can bring. We will start the process on Monday, obviously referring to the Monday just gone, and it's not going to be an easy one. I ought to add at this point as well that Toto has ruled out George Russell, stating, quote, he doesn't think you are given the possibility to learn in a Mercedes. Basically saying as well that 2020 would be too early for him. Toto has been quite the chatter this week. He also said that whichever driver doesn't get that seat out of Bottas and Ocon will be helped to find another one in what he called a soft landing. I mean, he did a great job with Wehrlein and Ocon, didn't he? So yeah, they're going to be full of confidence. That's not all though. Bottas has also said that he does have a contingency plan in place should Mercedes choose to let him go. So here's what I'm thinking as of right now. I think, and it's my gut telling me this, that Bottas has lost his seat and Esteban Ocon will be partnering Lewis Hamilton next season. Now, the reason I've come to that conclusion is purely based on the rhetoric from Toto. To have a driver in place who is delivering the points this year, has picked up 9 podiums, including 2 wins, and is helping the team cruise towards another title, to have him on board and still be wrestling over a decision speaks volumes to me. Add to that the fact that Bottas is talking about a plan B and a plan C, I think he already knows. Look, people who have followed this channel for a while and have listened properly to what I have to say know how much I like Ocon and just how good I think he has the potential to be. Yeah, I said in a previous video that he doesn't scream world champion to me, and some, and I mean some, seem to think that that means that I think he's a bag of crap, and that in itself is a bag of crap. He doesn't scream world champion to me at the moment, but that does not mean he isn't a very good young driver with bags of potential and that he won't one day be world champion. It just means there's a lot of work to do before he's ready. That's it, simple as. My take on Ocon has been consistent over the 2 years I've had this channel. So yeah, I think he has the potential to do a very good job at Mercedes, but it is a risk. However, if we are to take what Toto has said previously at face value, in that he is looking at 2020 and beyond, then it makes total sense to get Ocon in that car now, or a young driver at least. It gives them a chance to get their feet under the table, settle in, and what better driver for any youngster to learn from than a 5, probably soon to be 6-time world champion. The flip side of that is, and I don't care what anybody says, Bottas has been so much better this year, and in my view at least, he has done enough to earn another year with the team. Again, 9 podiums and 2 wins on top of the fact that he has a very good attitude, keeps things harmonious with his teammate, and as we saw last year, is compliant when he is asked to be. That is just what a second driver is meant to be doing. Now, if I was making a choice based solely on 2020, I would keep Bottas hands down. But here's the thing, and this is why I would not want to be in Toto Wolff's position. If I was making a choice based on the long term, I would take Ocon. Maybe Russell, although I'd probably lean towards Esteban. And Toto clearly thinks he needs to be looking at the long term now because Hamilton is out of contract at the end of 2020 and we don't know what he's going to choose to do. He probably doesn't even know, so nobody else is going to know. You've got the rules changing in 2021, so again, get somebody in so they've got time to settle before the shake-up. And you've also got the next generation starting to make their way through and starting to make an impression as well. So the likes of Ocon will be quickly forgotten if they don't get a seat soon, which I guess is why there are so many of you who actually think that Russell is the way to go. Going back to what Toto said though, it does look as though the writing is on the wall for Valtteri. That's sort of how things sound at the moment. I might be wrong. And although I do hope that Mercedes will look at his performances on the whole, do not underestimate the fact that he went into the summer break off the back of a DNF in Germany and a poor result in Hungary. 2 races Toto had pretty much said he needed to deliver in. Whether Germany was a lottery or not, or whether Leclerc hit him in Hungary or not, the facts will always show DNF and P8. And that's fresh in Toto's memory. I haven't honestly given too much thought on where Valtteri might end up should he be dropped. Perhaps that's a conversation for a future live stream. But Haas would actually be a good shout. They're going to be on the lookout for somebody quick, consistent and who prefers not to run into his teammate. Red Bull is another option I've seen thrown around, and yeah, again, you'd expect he will deliver consistency, and he will also keep things pretty sweet with Max as well as putting the team first. Not that Gasly doesn't do that, but he hasn't exactly been quick or consistent. Perhaps Renault, maybe that's the soft landing that Toto spoke about. You know, whoever he doesn't pick gets a seat at Renault, although I really doubt there is anything officially in place between the two teams. I 100% cannot see Cyril Abiteboul accepting a "you'll take what we don't want, you will have our cast-offs" agreement. There's no way. But Bottas would be a good driver for Renault, and Ocon, French driver, young driver, would be a good option for Renault as well. Some have even suggested that Bottas could move back to Williams. I guess the point is, if Bottas is dropped, I'm almost certain that somebody will pick him up. But let's leave that there because there's going to be plenty of time over the next few weeks to discuss Bottas and Ocon and Gasly and whoever else. But let's head on to this final rumour that I wanted to cover in this little roundup, and that is on the Racing Point lineup. Sergio Perez has previously said that he expects to stay at the team next season and that the deal was, in his words, being finalised. It's no great surprise, really, is it? I mean, he was linked with Haas, but as I've said before, that's a step sideways rather than forwards, and I'm sure he'd prefer to move forwards up the grid rather than sideways or backwards or to the west or whatever. It makes sense for Racing Point too. He knows the team, he's settled in, they know him well, and although they don't necessarily need the money now, he does add extra cash to the kitty. On his teammate though, well, this is probably the biggest shock I've suffered since he was announced as a Racing Point driver. In fact, you guys might want to take a seat, take a deep breath and prepare yourselves for this one. Are you ready? It looks as though, and this is by no means confirmed, but it looks as though Lance Stroll will be staying with the team for 2020. I know, right? I'll give that one a second to sink in. Sarcasm aside, Otmar Safnauer was asked if he expected there to be any changes to the team's lineup next season, and he replied with, quote, "I don't think so." So yeah, Perez and Stroll look set to be teammates again in 2020. Safnauer did, by the way, also make reference to the fact that Stroll is still young, and he's going to need more time to settle in and learn at a new team, and they are, quote, "teaching him things about how we go about our business, and Sergio is helping with that." Good stuff. I joke, but I've always said this, Stroll is a far better driver than some give him credit for, and although the money has fast-tracked him to F1, I don't think anybody's denying that. In fact, I think Lance Stroll wouldn't deny that. But he is a quick lad, and he is doing alright so far in 2019. Forget for a second that his dad owns that team. Based on this season alone, I think it makes total sense to keep both drivers for next year. That is it then for this video, but in the top right of the screen you can find a poll where you can have your say. The question this time around is who will take the second seat at Mercedes for 2020? Just the 2 options because of what Toto has said about it being between Bottas and Ocon. Who do you think it will be? Also, you can of course let me know your thoughts on any of the rumours featured today down in the comment section. Now, I will be back soon with more content as ever, but in the meantime, don't forget that you can follow me over on social media and all of the links you need for that are in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.